The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Good morning, traders. Well, that's a brilliant way to say it. Mark says, what a week. We're at NVIDIA for a week. Love it. Welcome to the Tradespoon live trading room, stocks and options opening bell. When we have coffee together in the morning, we know it's Friday, and that is always a good thing. Fabulous Friday is what Dennis says. Good morning to you as well. Good morning, Faust. Good morning, Raymond. Good morning, LK. Great to see you. Mario, good to see you, my friend. Good morning, John. I love it. Such good Friday energy. Very, very cool. I had to go to Las Vegas unexpectedly. I hate those unexpected Las Vegas trips. And that's why Vlad filled in for me. But I'll see you this afternoon. So I'll get to close up Friday with you guys. We'll have an afternoon chat as well. But I appreciate the Friday energy. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Scott Beck. I'm the head trading coach here at Tradespoon. If you are new, if you've only been coming for a little while and you've never taken time to introduce yourself, say hello. I wish you would. And participate, contribute to the discussion. The more the merrier. This is me trading for a while, teaching for a while. These are the disclaimers. I haven't talked about it for an entire week. Futures are up. But it has a lot to recover from yesterday. It got kind of knocked around. 0.34 for those, 0.6 for the Russell. So the Russell with interest rate plight, the plight of the interest rates. Another split. Split activity is bullish activity, right? It's very much a psychological thing. Can be a diluting thing, but typically if it is, it'll be acknowledged as such. But that is bullish. We expect to see increased split activity in a increasingly bullish market. So we have NVIDIA declaring, and I believe someone tell me if I'm 10 for 1. And what happens? NVIDIA's $100 stock again, right? So I apologize, Mark, because I'm going to have to talk about it. Mark shaking his head. So yesterday it was strong, gapped up. My theory is that we're a similar angle but secondary channel right down here, and we're kind of sitting at the top of that. We'll see if it continues. It does look like we're set to open up again, but not even as high as this high. But 10 to 1, what date's that? June 10th. And remember that Chipotle is doing a 51. So now we have NVIDIA's $100 stock again. NVIDIA's Chipotle's a $60 stock again. And they have what they need to see that activity continues. A lot easier to have sustained growth, right? So very interesting. All right, let's keep looking. Let's look around. Wild week for sure. Biden is sending a message. I mean, of course he is. Look at those Ray-Bans. He's sending a message. The message is I haven't gotten new glasses for 20 years. No, I'm just kidding. U.S. economic output hits 2-year high. Let's not forget that, well, it is solid dose. Okay. Let's go to the calendar, see what's going on there. Good morning, Robert. Good to see you, my friend. Durable goods today came out. Christopher Waller is set to speak, starting here in about 10 minutes. And then we get a consumer sentiment number. Try 50 years. That's closer. Yeah, right? That's true. Okay, next week, what's coming? Well, Monday, nothing. Maybe as part of discussion, we should toss around what's being barbecued or smoked at your house. I'm assuming you're barbecuing or smoking. It's Memorial Day. I don't know. What's being barbecued or smoked at your house? Number 2, what are you drinking? Memorial Day. Good morning, Carmen. Good to see you, my dear. No market Monday. So, I always try to be a little extra careful on days where the market has 3 to consider things before the next day. And that increases when we're kind of in a weird market. Now, let me pause for a second. People will ask if you follow. This is the posture. I'm at a 5. I have to acknowledge the bullishness. However, I still have some concerns, and I would still be waiting for a pullback to establish our setup conditions. We know setups. If there's not a setup, there's nothing we're going to do about that. Next week, after our long weekend, we have the Case-Shiller Price Index, and we're right back to where real estate's growing at a nice clip. We have Neil Kashkari, who has a tendency, a propensity even, to have a little bit more insightful rhetoric, right? If you remember when we had I don't remember the exact details, but there was like a, sub-Fed chairman that shook things up with what he said. It was Neil. Neil did that. It wasn't the hallowed Austin Goolsbee, my most favorite of Feds. I'm putting together, I got the domain goolsbeeforfed.com. He doesn't even know it yet. This is how I'm going to weasel my way into being best friends before he becomes the Fed, so that when he's there, my influence will be established. So goolsbeeforfed.com. It's early, but we'll build momentum together. What else? The Beige book on Wednesday. You know that everything Fed is like, we're just like, Fed, give me we're like crack addicts for Fed information right now, right? We got the shakes. Give me some. I need something from the Fed. Give me something from the Fed. Just the dime bag. Is that a thing anymore? Dime bags? I don't know. Maybe that was only in the 80s. Okay. So we do have John Williams speaking. We have the Fed Beige book. Thursday, GDP. It's growing, but that's not a great rate, right? So we'll see what that comes in at. If it comes in lower than that, certainly we'll all be like, scratching our heads, wondering what that's going to look like. John Williams again. Come on, John. There's no reason to be trying to hog the spotlight. They probably should have invited Goolsbee instead. Friday, we have some information. Right? Is he my favorite above Greenspan? I mean, No, I will always love Greenspan. He's the the goat. But Goolsby has potential. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, I'll put that posture back up in 1 sec, John. Friday's the big day, right? That's the big inflationary data day. The Fed's most favorite. This is where I think, have to decide: are they gonna be able to lower rates by September or not? So here's June. June is in 19 days. It's not often that you get to this point. You'll notice we're at 99% that it stays, and the 1%, like, what if, is that they raise it, right? There's not even a hint of probability, and you're starting to see more of our Fed speak indicative of, hey, I'd be willing to raise them. They see enough strength in the economy still that they would be willing to raise them. I agree with you, John. I don't think they can. John says no change the rest of the year. It's funny how we're getting to that point, right? We're getting to that point. Way back. I wonder what ChatGPT thinks. I asked ChatGPT for some. We have conversations sometimes, if I'm lonely. 90% basically. So 10-1, July, basically not even a thought. Now we get to September. And September was that's the place where the probability first showed signs that they would maybe cut it. And you can see we've lost that. The probability is shifted back to unchanged, right? Back to unchanged. So the probabilities are really wavering right now that we get a cut in September. What happened August? Remember, it's only 8 meetings a year. So let's see if November, there. Now, November is the only place where we have just a slight piece of hope. Yeah, okay. Next week on Friday, that's the big one. I think we may meander moving into that. I'll tell you this. I am bullish. Here's the posture. I am bullish, and the momentum for me because it is looking increasingly like that interest rate can is getting kicked down the road, and the market, having priced in things, has to then price that back out. John's skeptical all the time. I love that. I must have turned my speakers down because I didn't hear the bell. I'm like, oh, we've got to be opening soon. We're open. You probably knew that. It probably rang on your side. Okay, so we know what's going on now. We know what's going on next week. Let's take a quick peek at this. Probably September, since it's an election year. Yeah, that very well could be. Okay. SPY, what are we seeing here? Stella was quite bullish for quite a while, and I was like, I appreciated her enthusiasm. I did. I thought, sometimes she drags her feet, and now all of a sudden she's like, let's go. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Now she's a little more skeptical as well. Still mildly bullish, like me. And so, there could be a nice little bounce here, but let's not get crazy with risk levels. That's the way I see this. Let me know your thoughts. So, yeah, would I still look for predation pullback? Absolutely. Of course I will. because that's what my posture says to do. But am I going to, go aggressive? No, I think I'm still going to keep that posture nimble. I'll definitely be ready to hedge. We'll look at the VIX here in a second and talk about like what kind of hedge propensity might be developing. Yeah. Okay. The Qs. So she's still quite exuberant on the Qs. And based on the beast that is Mark's least favorite to discuss right now, I don't want to say the name right now out of respect. But it is quite strong. Move back into a stronger, more consistent bullish position. So if it's going to happen, it will be led by NASDAQ. That should be our assumption. So seeing it starting to play out, that will make us increasingly bullish. Yeah. Okay, let's go take a look at the small caps. Hard to get a good signal lately is 100% accurate. It's been I agree. The last good signal and the last good signal came when you get it and it moves. I mean, let me ask you this. I'll say this, for me, it moved more bullishly than I was expecting. What does that mean? It means I didn't have a ton on, right? I put some bullish on. Would it be a lot? Of course not. I'm telling you, I'm not going to do a lot now, even after recovery. Back a little bit ago was less. And because of my market posture, when I got to my preliminary targets, I took half off, because when markets are shakier, I take half off. When markets are stronger, I only take like a quarter off. And so that means there wasn't a lot left for the rest of that good move. There was some, it made some money. Was it as much as I would have liked? No, but there was a reason why. And I believe the reason's still in place. So yeah, Bob, I agree with you. After that, smoking pork slab ribs, Kansas City tradition yum. Oh, Ernest, I was gonna do ribs and still might. I love smoking some ribs. Amazing. Please make sure you tell how they turned out. What else? Mario, I just saw your GPT follow up. I was thinking the same thing. Like, what voice should it be? Love it. So funny. So here's the SPY. That was a hell of an engulfing pattern. And here's the deal. For me, when I score volume, my requirement is 5% above average for me to say that's above average. I don't need, like, people are like 150%. You really don't get that many of those days. If that's what you're waiting for, you're going to wait a long time. And it's funny how often it's like, that's 150. You're like, that's it. The sellers are in control. And then the next day it turns around and you're like, see, that's not that good of a predictor, my friends. I'm just looking for the overall volume. So I'm looking at the aggregate of when I have above average volume and who has that volume. And you can see that in this last month and change, there's just not a lot. But when it comes, sellers. When it comes, sellers again, right? So it's like the buyers haven't managed to get anything above average. So this was not, I mean, it happened. It happened. It was stronger than that's the signal I'm talking about right here, right? Is we had this consolidation and it went up and it pulled back, and that was definitely a higher low, and that was definitely a good turn right there. And if you got in and it went up to this point and you took a chunk off, then you only got a little bit further, and then you're like, okay, pass some time. Are you knocking out profits with that? Probably not. Now, if you look at what we've had since then, this is the last almost 2 weeks now. It sneaks up on you, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 days. That's almost 2 weeks. And what has it done? Nothing. Sideways. That's tough. That is tough. Yeah, we have to still be careful. It's not like, well, you can just throw a trade on and think good things are going to happen. Let's look at the VIX real fast. What do you think I'm missing? Anyone out there? I mean, right now it looks like the VIX is setting up for another lower high. That's what's crazy about this. Bob's comment, he said, seems like wild swings for a 12 VIX. Not wrong. We look at this thing just like, look at that. That's a strong move, but it didn't really. We had a lower high here. We had a lower high here. And now you can see we pulled up, and then it's just kind of sitting like this. And it's not a lower high yet, but it looks like it's kind of setting up for one. Now, here's the deal. If at any point this thing kind of spikes through this is an easy hedge. We talked about what would we think for hedges. Well, right now, number one, if you're carrying a good amount of bullishness into the weekend and it's a 3-day weekend, would I consider some hedges simply because they're cheap? Yeah. If the context is right and the hedges are cheap, it's an easy thing to put it on and be like, I'm just going to hold these till Tuesday, Wednesday next week just to make sure nothing funky happens. Take it off. No harm, no foul. It can work wonders, right? But there's not an official hedge. We just had a lower low on the VIX. It's not spiky. I got punched in the mouth on a set of calendars, Mario. Because remember that the most dangerous thing for a calendars is a grind up. That's the most dangerous thing. A drop brings vol with it, and those things are Vega positive. So, I don't know what just happened there. Erase that. And so if I put on a vol or a calendar here and it grinds up and I put another one on here, that one I took the loss. But the next one, which I put on here and then here, that one working out just perfectly. And more to come. Yes. So would I be thinking, hey, can I look to put one on going forward from right now? Absolutely. Absolutely. Calendar spreads still viable. But yeah, they're not always perfect, right? They're still gonna chop you a few times. Okay. Great questions. Great discussion. I feel like we're having the right discussion. But like I said, challenge it. If you said, Scott, you're talking about all this, but what about X? Put it on the screen. Let's talk about it. Right at the money's 528s. So I would go. Lately, I've been really liking just going out 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I and then I have all next week to adjust it. But you could, whatever, 2 week, 4 week, 3 week, 5 week. Everyone plays around with different. And I would probably say the 528s. Yeah. Let's look at this watch list of ours. Just see how everything is moving about today. Let's start up at the top. Apple. Raise your hand if you like Apple. Me. Looks great. Broke out on earnings. Then it made a new higher high. Now it's making a higher low. And I said anywhere from where it is now down here to like 181 or so, setup is developing, right? It's pulling back. We're looking for that setup. We're looking for it to turn. Fantastic. ACB. Okay, now a lower high. So first thing you should recognize is that's a lower high. And you're right at the neckline, therefore, of a shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline. Okay, if it holds and starts to bounce, there may be a trade here, right? If it bounces, you might look for it to get to 8 again. Maybe to run up. But if it breaks that 50, this movement is likely done for a bit. AIG, setting up. I think it looks great for a setup going into next week, right? But waiting for it to, move into next week more than anything else. AMD. Yeah. What do you think? I mean, look what you're seeing for tech. What happened here? We were in a consolidation, and it broke. Did it have any volume on that breakout? Sure did. Look at that. Look at that volume. So now we made this higher high. And now what is it doing? Now it's pulling back. Great. That's viable. Even though it's below the 50, that to me is viable, right? So if it comes in here and stabilizes and starts to turn, we're seeing some momentum into technology, right? That's where Stella sees the most amount of momentum. Amazon. Ooh, it's fluttering around a little bit. What can I do with this? I could definitely wait until I see a bullish Heikin-Ashi candle for some confirmation. Anytime I start to see this, it's just like, what am I waiting for? What am I waiting for? Wait for that green candle. As long as it comes at or above the 50. So I do still think there's a nice setup here. Amazon seems to be strong. When was Amazon split? How far back was it? We got to add that to like hey, look at the increased activity level. Does anyone remember that? Tell me if you remember. Or if ChatGPT will tell you real quick. And if you're asking ChatGPT, please tell him I said hi. AXP, financial, setting up. Yeah, a little pullback, sitting above the 50, higher high, higher low, trend intact. We have technology with momentum. That's a bullish sector. That's a leader. We have already AIG and AXP. Those are financials. That's a leader. I mean, this is looking increasingly bullish. Am I wrong? That's not sentimental. That's factual. Anyone trading Boeing lately? Bank of America, higher highs. What are we looking for? A pullback to a higher low. And that looks very bullish. Citigroup, I mean, it still looks bullish. I don't think that trend looks as good. I like BAC better. I like AIG better. AXP better. I think Caterpillar is holding up. Same kind of a thing here. Now, where are we? It's been a little while. Robert, thank you. A little longer than I thought. But, I don't think I can count it. I was thinking if it was within the last year. He said it was in 2022. We're almost 2 years now. So, okay. But it was 20 for 1. It was a doozy. Caterpillar, we're now in industrials. Another growth segment when bullish. And you can see we popped out of this consolidation, got back above the 50. Now we're fighting to hold the 50. Hold the line. The war cry of the bull. If it can hold, I think looks good. CMG Burrito Factory. The split is just lingering right here. It's like June 26th or something like that. Trend looks good. And if that trend stalls coming into the split, I have a feeling the split may reinvigorate when everyone's CNM. That looks great. Where is it? Financials. We're starting to see some breadth. What is it? Oil. Where is it? Back under the 50. We said we don't love this pressure, this inflationary pressure, but we've seen a nice little pullback. So that's good. That's good for inflation. Right, Mario? That's a fantastic idea, right? Shareholders of record get an annual, like a quarterly burrito distribution? How would they tax that? They're like, I'm coming in for my quarterly shareholder burrito, please. I believe the guacamole is free. TXN. Ooh. TXN. I was looking at that the other day and it looked very strong. Robert, I missed the question. Please repeat it because I have to scroll up. It's a lot of activity today, which is fantastic. But it also means I might have missed a couple of things. So if I missed anything that you've asked or said, please give it to me again. The guacamole should be free for shareholders, Victor. If I'm a shareholder, I expect free guacamole on my quarterly burrito. That should be a given. Oh, can I look at the active trader TXN? Surprised the stop is so low. Okay, yeah. Let me get to that here. I'm gonna run through my list. Costco, we'll see if it pulls back on the earnings, but I like that. CRBG is looking bullish. Financials, DAL looking bullish. Kind of a quasi-industrial / retail, right? Consumer. I think you can go back and forth, but bullish. The Dow holding up. Mining still holding up. Or materials, sorry. There's the Bitcoin. There's GE. I said looking for a second entry. Did anyone re-enter? I did stop out. I did close out on an early entry, but I do look for a second entry. Yes, John. Nice. Yes, and coup. Ha ha ha. I love it. Love it. Gold looks like it's setting up. I mean, all of a sudden, it's like we've got a bunch of setups. Am I wrong? Like, okay, sorry. My microphone got unplugged. Vlad had a good GE trade. Very nice. Very nice. What do you think about PLTR? I think it's struggling still. Love it, John. You don't have to trade. That's amazing. You're exactly right about that. Pays to be patient. Words to live by. 300 PE for PLTR. Jeez. KB Homes looks bullish. Another industrial / consumer. Meta. Ooh, I think Meta looks like it's ready to go bullish. I like it. Microsoft. I mean, look. I feel like I'm ready to turn the corner and get bullish again. Actually, I might be taking more risk than I said. Huh? Microsoft is almost there, right? I think I'm gonna actually have to reevaluate my risk levels for next week because I have a lot of things on here that look good across a lot of different places. The breadth is there. A little bit stalling now as expected, likely to come back down. I thought you said Katie Holmes looks bullish. Katie Holmes? I don't know if she's bullish. I would expect she is if she's a trader. Oh, KB Holmes. That's funny. KB Holmes, Katie Holmes. Yeah, I can see that. Okay. Hilarious. That's funny. RTX. She might need to be a trader. I don't think she acts much these days, right? Like it's been a while. Trading's a viable option. You should sign up and join the crew. RTX. I liked it. It's stalling a little bit. SPY, it looks like it's in its consolidation. So we are now moving into our next bullish window, I believe, based on my posture, based on higher highs. There's some concern with the summer, but last summer was bullish, so don't let it concern you too much. Trade what you see. What do you see? TSM, bullish, but not really setting up. UUP, this is critical for me right here with the dollar. If this holds, we're good. If this breaks, I think the market's going to feel some stress. So if you don't watch the dollar, pull it up, take a look. Go back in time to see why. The VIX is still looking viable for a lower high setup. VRT, the trend is there. Not really. Financials. A little sideways on waste management. There's better for industrials. I think technology looks good. I think some communication services looks good. I think some industrials and financials. There's breadth just sneaking its way back in. Walmart. Bullish but needs a pullback. Real quick look at our sectors. XLB, I don't like materials, still looking bullish, but we'll see what happens. Communication services looking more bullish. Energy looking less. Financials looking more and setting up. Industrials looking more and setting up. Technology looking more and starting to consolidate. So that's a lot of strength right there in those three. But there's also still strength in staples. So, okay. And there's still strength in utility. So there's still some things that are, playing out. There's healthcare. Healthcare looking strong if you like to trade healthcare. I'm not a huge healthcare fan, but if you like it, that's fun for you. Okay. I haven't gone to these for a while. Active trader. And today is CXN strategy. So let's see, stop loss. Oh, on the options. I haven't even changed this I haven't gone to these for so long. Options. Dun dun dun. Yeah. Entries at 230. Well, remember it's because it's $1, right? You're looking for one down, two up. So it's always kind of that ratio. But with a stop loss there, and especially if you ended up getting filled at anything lower than 230, you might not stop out. You might just be like, hey, but yeah, I think that's all it is just because it goes by a formula, right? It's a very formulaic type of a trade. I think it just ended up that way. So it just looked a little off. Look at the SPY before we wrap it up here. I gotta tell you, after this conversation, I feel a little better about things. I was a little like, am I still skeptical? I feel less skeptical. I love what we're seeing across some really strong, high liquidity, market leading stocks. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in our momentum. We're seeing this in the candles. So yeah, we've got plenty of room, well above the 50. Everything's looking pretty good. Hey, I'm here for it. We're here for it. Yeah, definitely not the seasonal. I agree with that. Well, listen, it's amazing to see you guys. If you can't make it this afternoon, I hope you have an amazing 3-day weekend. If you can come back later today, we'll have another discussion. I'll be filling in for Vlad this afternoon. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a safe and happy Memorial Day weekend. And as always, happy trading.